So dream, 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 dream. Then what? Dream, dream, dream. Then do. And then feel. And then think. And then do. And then dream. And then think. And then feel. And then do. Then dream. Then think. Then feel. And do. All together. Dream. Then think. Then feel. Then do. Sound easy? Well, tell your faces. Because we've got some purification to do, huh? So what if today was the day you waited your whole life for? Like today, what if you spontaneously stopped believing it? What would that be like? Would that be all right? So we'll practice. Your dog is blue. What kind of effect did that have on you? Anybody disturbed by that thought? One's disturbed. He's probably had a blue dog somewhere along the way. Just notice you had a thought and you were not disturbed by it. What would that be like? Then some of you were like, maybe I'll get a blue dog. Where would I get a blue dog? What's she talking about? Do you have a blue dog? Do you have a blue dog? And then some of you are like, there's no such thing as a blue dog. I mean, wake up, lady. Loco. So just notice the allure to come in there and start evaluating, theorizing, evaluating, making up stuff, interpret something. Then you got to prove how wrong Martha Creek is. Like, who invited her? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, everybody pull out your dog. Show her the picture and show her there's no blue dog. So, hi-ho, off to hell we go. So, what if today you stopped believing the thoughts? If you claimed your innate, inherent power for that. But I am the seat of consciousness. I am an observer of this, and I can tell the difference between the thought and me. I can tell the thought between being the disturbed and a disturbance. But oh, the allure to be the disturbed. So lead me not into the temptation of mind, for it is hellish. Only if I believe it. Deliver me from believing it, for there is the power, there is a potential, there is a possibility, there is the seat of consciousness where I can sit and allow all thoughts to be as they are. They're going to anyway. And that all feelings then have a place, because feelings then are effects of the thoughts. So, what if we swing wide the door to this? Sound easy? Let's try another one. You have ugly green hair. How did that affect you? So I didn't believe it. Some of you checked to see. I see you checking. Your hair could have got green after you got here. And it's like, oh, it didn't affect me. Like, oh, there's potential here. So Saturn has rings around it. Who wants rings around Saturn? I mean, really, who voted? I don't like it a bit. I'm going to sign a petition. and we'll pass it around. And if you agree with me, if you can get together, we'll get mad enough and righteous enough and determined enough and passionate enough, and we'll sign a petition and we'll get the rings off of Saturn. Who's in? See, it's pure insanity. And we're just a thought away from it. And then there'll be things kind of closer to home. Like Reverend Juan likes to tell jokes. And he thinks they're funny. And then see, we're in the spectrum of this. Because then there's some of us that adore him and his preciousness. Like the precious little thing thinks his jokes are funny. Like that. Like I adore that. And then the other polarity of it is somebody going to tell him? Like, will they ever evaluate him? I mean, how long is this going to go on? Do I have to bear this every single Sunday for the rest of my life? So this is the spectrum. This is what we're dealing with. So get a sense if after today we magically maybe or transformationally could just lean toward adoration instead of hatefulness. And to the degree, yes, and to the degree I'm able to do that with my own parts, I'll be able to do that with one. The kinder I am to my parts, I'll be able to express. I'll be able to demonstrate that. I'll be able to be and express what I want the world to be. So then I won't be so clever anymore to think, oh, I'll go out and change the world. It's like, how has that worked out? Versus I'm wise enough now to know there's one place for change. Guess where? In the seat of my consciousness. And taking responsibility for the activity of the mind, the flow of the thoughts, the flow of the feelings, and how I'm being with them, and to be with them differently, more kindly, more compassionately, with more understanding, with more power, with more faith, everything we claim to be about. And then we have weather. Like, who can bear it? It's just so hot. It's just hot all the time. I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of how hot it is. How was your week? Oh, just hot. Just hot. Like, miserable. Misery. Like, how miserable are you? And if you don't have breast, I don't want to hear a thing about how miserable you are, because you don't know a thing about breast sweat. Like, I mean, what all is going on under there? Like, you need a towel just for that. You need another device, another layer of clothing, like to clean all that up. Then it's like, oh, you got to keep them high and dry. It's like, again, hopeless. Hopeless. If you aren't laughing, then you don't have a breast sweat issue yet. So get a sense of this. Like, we're looking at where can I start with this? If I could just start with we'll get into some quotes here in a minute from this book that I'll be in this workshop about this afternoon with all of you who have suffered just enough, called Untethered Living. Untethered Living, that says, let's start with some low-hanging fruit. Let's start with where we can. So then today, like I'm going to see she's crazy. This Creek woman's crazy, like you can tell. But I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to stop talking about weather and see if it kills me. So they'll say, how's the weather, Pam? They're like, I don't know a thing about it. There's rings around Saturn, too. Like, well, are you just miserable in the heat? It's like, sometimes. Is something wrong with you? Are you meditating again? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm trying to get you to collude with my misery. It's like, I know, I'm just attempting to do it differently. I'm attempting not to burn off my vital life force complaining about things I cannot do a darn thing about. And then I'll have some vital life force for compassionate response, for creative activity, for dreaming, thinking, feeling, and doing towards something that is a goal of mine that I want to be and become, instead of recreating more of what's been handed down, what we've innocently adapted to. So then we'll start also with how much we're going to dredge the past. So it's important to dredge the past in meditation, in purification practices, with a mentor, with a therapist, for a therapy. So there's a way to go into the past and take a look at it. And in doing those, we would do so sanely to know that whatever my hurts are from the past are the cause of the way I'm reacting to now. So I'd be more compassionate with it, instead of like, I got to whip them in shape. It's like, well, no, that makes them more activated usually, more uncared for. So instead, I'm going to dredge the past with a coach or a counselor, or in prayer or meditation. I'm going to care for the hurts of my past, and I'm going to quit poisoning myself with the past. So imagine you go into a restaurant, and whatever food you order, you eat, and it actually makes you sick. You become sick from eating it. It poisoned you. The food poisoned you. How many of you would ask for a doggy bag? Like, it poisoned me, but I'm going to take this with me. I'll try it again tonight. I'll drink some water and kind of flush out my system, and then I'll eat the rest of this. It's like we wouldn't poison ourselves again, consciously. So let's do our darndest then not to do that by dipping back in the past for another bite of it, without a space holder, without somebody that can take us into our past and create and hold a safe space for us to do the work that we need to do in relationship to those hurts, in relationship to those traumas, in relationships to those losses that get us on a more solid ground, not sicker than we've been made by them. So be aware that the mind, the part that you hear, is full of wanting. Have you noticed? It wants, and actually believes it needs things it doesn't have. It has very strong preferences, shoulds. And to the degree that we can meet that wants, needs, shoulds energy more compassionately, our healing is possible if we go into these parts that wants and needs and shoulds and shouldn'ts and hold them for healing. The opposite of what many of us have done, to suppress them, depress them, deny them, push them down, push them away, call their names, be at war with them. So if you understood all of those parts are looking to be comfortable, they're looking for someone to protect it, what we didn't get back there. Someone to give it a sense of belonging, a sense of safety, a safe, more unconditionally loving presence. So whatever is tormenting us is our mentor. Our tormenting is our mentor. Because until I pull up a seat, every mystic has told us this. Every mystic has said, swing wide the door. Life is a guest house. It will sweep you clean over and over and over again. So mystics don't argue or contend to know what's best. So get a sense of that. If just now we're looking at what I can practice today, even before you leave here, because some of us enlightened ones will cross you before you can get off the premises. Because we will mirror to you a part of you that you're not okay with yet. So we can then swing wide the door, get a cup of tea, coffee, whatever's your thing, and sit with it to say, okay, I'm going to be with this differently now. I want to see if some of this could be true. We'll test it out to see. And then when you get disturbed, and you will, like check to see if you have a pulse. Yep, look around, eyes are open. Yep. So guess who's going to get disturbed today? Us. And the difference is, as an observer, to know the difference between I have a disturbance, there is a disturbance, and I am the disturbed. So how you doing, Reverend Juan? I am the disturbed. Have you heard? And here's my proof for why I am disturbed. Or I have a disturbance. I'm aware of a disturbance. That this is, if you're in a relationship and you're with them, tell them, I'm going to pay her. Because this is basic relationship 101. And it's the difference of when we shift out of, Juan, you hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings. It's like, we at Unity don't do that anymore because we've had healthy congregations training. So now we say, Juan, I feel hurt. I feel hurt by that tone. I felt hurt when you didn't keep your word. It's like, does that feel different? So see what the difference then would be with one, there's a part of me that's hurt by that. There was a part of me that got scared when you didn't keep your word. There was a part of me that was kind of freaked out when you used that tone. Feel the difference? So it's like letting the part have a place, and the part doesn't have to come in to lead. Like it's included, and I'm in a seat of consciousness with a high self, a higher consciousness also online. So the hurt part is online, and I'm online with it. So herein lies an opportunity to create a world that we think about, sing about, pray about, to the degree that I can live it out to the degree that we can live it out. And I believe we are the people. And I believe if others could do it, they'd be doing it. So, guess who? Guess who gets to do it? So, hi-ho, off to heaven we go. And creating a heaven on earth and doing our best to interrupt these patterns in our way of being and to be with it differently. So let's look at some of the quotes. Beyond the human predicament. There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You're not the thoughts. Have you heard this before? I am not the thoughts. I'm the observer of the thoughts. So the thoughts come. And then to the degree that I can make room for all of them, when the thought comes in, if he does that one more time, I'm going to kick him in the shin. Like I'll have all my high self online with that thought, and I won't kick him. And then I'll look at my desire to kick him is how I've been treating that part of myself. A part of me that I've disowned, made wrong. So my desire to kick externally, my desire to kick another is mirroring back to me how I've been treating that part of myself. Next quote. When a problem is disturbing you, stop asking, what should I do about it? And ask, what part of me is being disturbed by this? There's a part of me, the protector part, the maximizer part, the overachiever part, the scared part, the I can't trust her part. What part of me is disturbed by this? And that's a much better question, because then you won't try to change the rings around Saturn. Next one. Do not let anything happen in life be so important enough that you're willing to close your heart over it. So whatever happened, happened. And I may never understand this. I may never get what this was all about or why that had to happen. I accept that. I accept I can't understand what I don't understand. And I'm responsible for my own heart and the atlas of my own heart. So I'm not going to let even what happened and the hurts close my heart down permanently. It'll close, then I work with it, it expands. It'll close again, it'll get hurt, then I will care for it and work, and it opens again. So we accept the flow of the heart. It's in and out, and closed and open. And that is the law, the way of it. So to say I want my heart open all the time would be no different than saying I only want to inhale. Like, I'm not into those exhales. It's like, well, guess what? Inhale, exhale. Open, close. Next slide. The truth is that life will unfold in accordance with forces far outside of your control, regardless of what you think about it, regardless of what you feel about it, regardless of how you interpret it. May this be our liberation today. May this be our freedom. Next slide. We're constantly trying to hold it all together. If you really want to see why you do things, don't do them. And watch what happens. This is the fast track. So we'll be spending some time this afternoon getting a solid foundation for this. We plant the seeds that will one day grow. This is an adaptation of a reading. We water the seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that need development, foundations that need to be cared for, further development. We cannot do everything. And there's a sense of liberation in knowing this. I don't have to do everything. This enables us, though, to do something, and to do something well. It will be incomplete, and it's a beginning, and a step along the way for an opportunity for God's grace to enter these parts and to do what we couldn't do, to do the rest. We may never see the end results. And that is the difference between master builders and workers. We are workers. We're workers. We're workers, not master builders. We're ministers, not messiahs. We can do something. We're prophets of a future that's not our own. We got some work to do today. So yesterday I was clever and thought I could change the world. Today I'm wise, and I work on the parts that can be changed. It's a full-time job. Blessings to you in your journey.
MarthaCreek.com if I can support you. Blessings.